Hey, this is Pastor Sal with Keeping It Real with Reverend Sal G. And this podcast is about meeting all of you out there where you're at to tell you about Jesus Christ. And today, our guest is Joey Higuera. And Joey and I have come to know one another through Oro Valley Church of the Nazarene. And he's also a dear and close friend. And when you become a dear and close friend of Pastor Sal, you get a nickname.
Yep.
So we call him Joey Bag of Donuts. So how this happened was a couple of years ago, there was a group started at the church called Family Man Fight Club. And Family Man Fight Club, Joey decided he wanted to take an interest in it. And I met him. We started to talk, and he said, "My name is Joey." Kind of reminded me of my brother, same built, kind of same look. It kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies a bit, and I knew I wanted to get to know this man. And we did. We started to walk, but then something extraordinary happened to Joey. And Joey, I want you to pick it up from there.
All right. Well, on December 5th of 2022, I either had an adverse reaction to a medication, or I had a head injury, or both. And because of that, I no longer remember anything personal that happened to me before then. So all my childhood memories completely wiped out. The first memory I have, I'm sitting in the waiting room at Oro Valley Hospital, and I come to, and I'm looking around, and I'm like wondering what I'm doing there. So I get up, I go outside, and I see the Oro Valley Hospital sign, the lighted sign up there. And I go up to the nurse, and I tell her at the front desk, and I say, "Hey, listen, I don't know who I am. I don't know how I got here. And I have a really bad pain in my head and my neck." So they triaged me really fast, put me in the emergency room. I was there for 3 nights as a John Doe. Nobody knew where I was at. According to my wife, that Monday, it was a Monday, December 5th of 2022, about 11 o'clock, I took a break. I was working from home at that time. And I just left, she said. And, about that time, she thought I'd taken a lunch break, or maybe went to go. We had just moved into our new house, so she thought maybe I was taking a break and putting stuff away. And she walked into the home office there, and she saw my phone, and she saw my watch there. And she was like, "That's weird. That's not like him to leave his phone or his watch there." So she started calling family members. She called my sisters. She called my kids. And they didn't know where I was at. So she, right away, she called the police department. They came out, and she filed a missing persons report. Even though it hadn't been, the 24 hours, she was able to do that. And I didn't see her again until that following Wednesday, about 3 o'clock in the morning. I had a nurse that used to be a police officer, and she said, "This is just too weird. You're too well dressed, you're too well groomed." She's like, this doesn't happen to people like you. I'm going to find out who you are and where you're from. So she was looking for me in California, Texas, New Mexico, Nevada, Colorado, all these places. And she looked on the Pima County Sheriff's website, and there my picture pops up. And
wow.
This whole time she'd been calling me Ozzy. She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "You don't know your name?" I was like, "I don't." She's like, "Well, I'm going to call you Ozzy." And she said, "Hey, Ozzy, I got some bad news for you." She's like, "Your name's not Ozzy. It's Jose." And so I find out where you're finally from, and the police are going to come and talk to you right now. So police officers came into the room about 3:30 in the morning. And they walked in with my wife and my son, and they asked me, they said, "Do you know who this is?" And I looked at my wife, and I said, "No, I don't know who that is."
So let me get some context here for a moment. So now you literally have no recollection of who you are. You have no memories. And how old are you now?
I'm 47.
So 47 years of memories are gone.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up in the hospital essentially as a John Doe.
Right.
And now you have your wife, who they claim to be your wife, right? And your son.
Right.
And you have no idea who they are.
No idea who they are. The look that I saw on my wife's face, I never want to see again. It's a look of fear, disappointment, sadness, just all rolled up into one. That's just like when I said, "No, I don't know who that is." just, and then they're like, well, do you know who that is? And they pointed to my son. I said, I don't know who that is either. So then my wife said, yeah, that's him, So I had been in the emergency room this whole time, and they had found the car about a mile away. So they think that I walked myself into the hospital, but they're not sure. I think my wallet was in the car, and the only thing I had on me at the time was the key fob for my car, and just the clothes that I was wearing. So they had someone with me the whole time after that. And the first person I spoke to after, talking to my wife was my mom. And so she went into the room where I was at, and she started talking to me in Spanish. And at the time, I didn't understand. I mean, I'm fluent in Spanish, speak, read it, write it. And at that time, I didn't know what she was telling me. So, so then she asked me in English. She said, "Do you understand what I'm saying to you in Spanish?" And I said, "No, I don't." So then she started talking to me in English, and she started explaining all these things. Well, your name is Jose, but they call you Joey. And, this is my father's name. This is your father's name. This is my name. And you have sisters and brothers and all this stuff. And I was just like, it was just way too much. And so she left, and then they put me in a regular hospital room after that. So, once in there, just talking to my wife, I had to reintroduce myself basically to my kids because I didn't know who they were. A couple of them came to the hospital. Some friends came, and of course, I didn't recognize them. So for the next day, we're just going through her phone and my phone through pictures and videos. And the crazy thing is knowing that you've lived a life with someone but not remember any of it. Having proof of it and not remembering any of it.
So when you saw these pictures and you saw these videos, did you have any connection to them at all? Did they feel familiar or anything like that?
Not at all. The only familiarity that I saw in the pictures and the videos was the fact that I was in them, or my wife was in them, or the people in the room were in them. Because some of my kids had gone to the hospital and they were in there, but no recollection of any of that. When I saw the pictures, they were just pictures. I'm like, okay, at some point I took a picture with them, or we did an activity when somebody videoed it. So
let's backtrack. So prior to this, where were you in your walk with Jesus Christ before the incident?
Before the incident, I think I was doing good. According to my wife, we were going to church. We had been involved in another church, for a smaller church, for 12 years, where we had some great friends. The great thing about friends like that is that we're still connected, because some of them go to OVCN now. Another one of my close friends, Pastor Scotty Hatlevig, he's a campus pastor for Zion City. And then another guy that was instrumental in my walk with Christ was Pastor David Swift. And he's out in Oklahoma right now. And I've always journaled. So going through my journals and seeing the impact that these men and these friends had on my walk with Christ was a godsend. Some of the stuff that I wrote in there wasn't too great, so I got rid of a lot of those. But the positive stuff that I came up with has been great. So I think before this incident that my walk with Christ was good. Now, after this incident, I think my walk with Christ has gotten even better.
So now you're in the hospital, you're going through pictures and videos. Are you getting any feeling of comfort at all with anyone that is in that room with you, or are they just all strangers to you?
They're basically all strangers. I see and I can sense that they have good hearts and that they have the best of intentions for me. But at the same time, they were strangers to me, because I didn't know who they were. I didn't have any recollection of who they were and what they meant to me. For me, they were just very nice people who were trying to help me.
So tell me about the first day back home in the house. How was that for you?
That was surreal, because, I actually suffer with depression and anxiety. So I had been off my medication for, at that point, 3 days. So they wanted to kind of recalibrate my medication. So I actually went to Sonora Hospital, in inpatient facility, for about a week, and they recalibrated my meds. And I talked to a couple of psychiatrists, and basically what they told me is that you have something that's called retrograde amnesia, whereas you don't remember certain parts of your life, but you remember like other parts, like, for instance, movies. Sometimes I'll watch a movie and I'm like, oh, this is really familiar. I think I've seen this before. Hearing a song, and I'm like, okay, I know this song, and I'll start singing along to it. At your house, which was amazing that one day when, you have a bunch of guitars and stuff, and I looked at it and I was like, I wonder if I can play. And I picked up a guitar and I started playing Metallica, I started playing Guns N' Roses, and I'm like, I guess I know how to play guitar.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, you don't know how to play guitar?
Yeah.
You were playing great.
Yeah. So, my first day back to the house, after being gone at Sonora for a week, in that time, I think my wife and I kind of bonded over the phone because of COVID, they weren't allowing any visitors. So since COVID happened, they weren't allowing any visitors from that point on. And I remember coming home and driving up to the round driveway that we have, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty crazy. I'm like, I'm going into a house where I don't know what I'm going to encounter. And one of the first things I encounter is my little old English bulldog, Daisy. She's jumping up on me, and I'm just like tripping out. I'm like, is she going to bite me? And she, my wife said, no, she's a sweetheart. She loves you. She missed you, and this and that. So I'm like, okay. And just being in that house, just looking around, we have a hallway full of pictures and stuff. And then we have a big portrait of my wife and I's wedding day. And just looking, and like I said before, just knowing and having proof that you've lived life with someone and just not remembering it is just so surreal to me, and it took me a while to kind of feel comfortable in that house because, for one, my wife said we had just moved there. And so our stuff was kind of still in disarray, it was all over the place. So it wasn't put away. But I just felt like a stranger in my own home. It just felt really, really weird. So weird feeling.
So now you're home. You're trying to get used to being around your wife again and everything that you have there in the house. When you saw her, because I know you love to lift weights, when you saw your equipment, did that strike anything for you? Like, hey, I know I like lifting weights, or was that still foreign for you at that time?
All of my possessions were like, wow, I'm into this. Because I have tons of books. I love to read. And I had all these different books, and I had all these different genres of books. Like, I had self-improvement books. I had religious books. I had political books. I had a little bit of fiction, not too much. And then, like you said, I have the weights in the garage, and I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm like, oh my goodness, man, wow. It kind of gave me a little bit of an idea of what type of person I was. Since I saw the different types of books, I'm like, okay, well, I see all these books. I must love reading. And then some of the books I'm going through again, and they're kind of familiar. Like, okay, I remember reading this at some point. Okay, all right, well, maybe I'll not finish this book, and I'll get like little nuggets and out of books and stuff, and I'll put it back, and I'll be like, okay. And but the exercise equipment, I saw that, and I was like, okay. And then I also have there's a picture in my garage. There's a when I weighed, at that time I weighed 332 pounds in 2018. It's got a date on it. And there's another picture next to it where I'm like, in good shape. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. So this is what I used to look like, which is like surprising. But I had seen those pictures in the videos and pictures that my wife had shown me on the phone where, before my surgery, I had bariatric surgery in 2018, I believe. And I lost over 100 pounds. So like seeing the transformation was like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. But seeing all this other stuff that I had, like we have another truck that is mine that I drive around. I'm like, oh, okay, I have a truck, and the bulldog, and in the backyard, and all this and that. And I'm like, wow, this is just kind of a lot. So it was a lot to kind of take in at once.
So even though you're home, you're with your wife, you're still in crisis mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is a weird spot, an uncomfortable spot for you to be in. At what point in this, journey you're on now, did you think about God or think about coming to God or saying, "Hey, I need God"? How did God work back into all this?
The great thing about it was it was almost right away, because it was when I went to Sonora Hospital. I asked for a Bible, and just something was telling me, this is what you need to do right now. You need to lean on God. You need to lean on the Lord. And according to my journals, I've always been an individual who embraces that. So yeah, I asked for a Bible, and I read the Bible, and then I believe my wife actually, she brought me a Bible as well, because I asked her to bring me that and a couple of books. So she was able to drop it off, and they gave it to me. So it was pretty right away that I leaned in on God. And I'll tell you what, Pastor Sal, I don't know how anyone can go through something like this or anything else without leaning on the Lord, because it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, who do you go to? When something is bothering you this much, or your life has changed this much, your life is in turmoil, and you're just, seriously, who do you turn to? And if you don't turn to the Lord, I don't know who has the grace to be able to help you out, to say, okay, you've done this stuff in the past. You might have gone through this. Let me carry you first for a while. I don't know how people who don't lean on God what do they do? I don't understand it.
So you've got comfort and peace from the Lord almost immediately. So he came to your aid right away. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's beautiful. I want to tell you that there was a point during this journey now that you're on that your wife called me. And I guess it was because you guys were getting ready to go back to church at OVCN. And so she wanted to let me know what was going on. And it just seemed like a story from a movie. It just seemed so surreal. Like, not really. This can't be true. And she had told me that before the incident, that you had taken a liking to me and there was something there. Mm-hmm. So I remember the first time I saw you coming back from church, knowing now what had happened to you. You came through the third space entrance with your wife. Mm-hmm. And I approached you like, "Hey, it's Joey." And you kind of had a little bit of, "This guy's coming at me. I don't really know who he is."
Yeah.
But you handled it really well. But I just can't imagine how long was it? Like how much time did it take for you to go through the process of meeting all these people and having them share all these experiences with you, saying that they know you and they've done life with you before? It didn't kind of freak you out or make you uncomfortable?
It still continues to happen. When I'll run into someone who I know, or I actually posted on Facebook about a year after the thing had happened, the incident happened. I told people, I was like, "Hey, listen, if I've seen you in the last year or so and I've been weird, this is why." And I kind of went on and explained that about the amnesia. And it's still a little weird. Like a couple months ago, my granddaughters, they were cheering at a football game at the U of A during the bowl game. And this guy came up to me. He's like, "Hey, Joey, hey, what's up, dude? How you doing? Remember me, Martin?" And I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry." I go, "But I had, a head injury and I don't remember anything." And he just looked at me. He's like, "Oh man." He's like, "But are you good?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "I'm fine." I go, "Just don't remember, my childhood or anything beyond a couple of years ago." And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, good luck to you, man. It was good seeing you though, bro." I mean, he's like, "Hey, we played football together. We hung out." And I'm like, "All right, cool. Yeah, great." And we're walking away. I told my wife, "Who was that?" She's like, "I have no idea." And I was like, "I don't either." So it's still kind of weird when people come up to me and tell me, or they'll be like, "Hey, do you remember when we did?" "Oh, you don't remember." My sister does that a lot. My sister Susie, we're really close. And And she's like, hey, do you remember? Oh, wait, you don't. And like, she'll joke around about it, but she's like, no, or she'll be like, hey, you don't remember this, but back in the day we did this, or, my aunt did this, or my cousin did this. And so she kind of, she keeps it light with us and with me. And I really appreciate that about her. But it is a little weird when people come up and it's still a process, when people say that, they know me or that we did this and that. And of course, I mean, I don't remember anything.
So I know we've had multiple conversations about what you've gone through, what you're going through. And I said, it's like you get to do a do-over. God wiped the slate clean for you. Right. And now you get to move forward. And, one of the blessings in my life is that God allows me to watch this journey that you're on with him and to be a part of it, because you shine. You have these amazing moments with the Lord. You have these amazing moments when you're helping either your wife, your grandbabies, or anyone, stuff that you do at the church. There is the presence of the Holy Spirit over you. And you are a person who lived real life. You've had real struggles. Now you're in this situation dealing with the amnesia. So how many years has it been since the accident?
It was December 5th of 2022. So it's a little over 2 years.
So we're now 2 years removed from this.
Mm-hmm.
And has anything come back for you at all?
Mm-mm.
And are you at peace with that? How do you now you're going forward, you're 2 years new with memories.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing life with that?
It's a little hard sometimes, not remembering stuff, but the way I see it is kind of the same way you see it. Is it's a clean slate, according to my wife and my sister, I've had a pretty traumatic childhood and gone through some stuff, and some of the stuff in the journals that I started to read, I'm like, I don't even want to go through that. I don't want to revisit that. I want to just, like, if I could get all the good memories, that'd be awesome. But of course, I mean, some bad's going to come with that. So I got rid of a lot of stuff that came to that, because I just didn't want to revisit something that I didn't really know about and I don't remember. So I see it as a new starting point and an opportunity to make new memories with the people I love and care about. I think I'm very careful about who I let into my life, small circles and all. There's certain people that I really enjoy having in my life, you being one of them, you and your whole family. And others that, I posted on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, about a week or so ago, I just want to give a shout out to the real ones that have stuck with me, because, I went through my phone. I went through all my messages that I have on my phone, my text messages and my messenger messages from Facebook. And I see in there that at some point I was close to a lot of people, or more people than I am now. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, in the last 2 years, where have these people been? There's a core group of people that have been there for me. And those are the people that I've chosen to continue my friendships with, and to just kind of work on the friendships with them and keep them going and have them be a part of my life.
So let's track the time where you were struggling with the dreams or the voices kind of thing that was going on with you. You were in the men's group with us. We were doing life together. Things seemed to be like the Lord seemed to be really empowering you. But why don't you explain what started to happen to you?
Okay. This was probably about 8 months after the incident. It was in August. I remember that. And I hadn't slept for about, I think it was close to 2 weeks. And Satan was just attacking me. I was having these nightmares, and I was having these bad dreams, and I couldn't sleep, and I was having anxiety, and then, I was having the depression again. And I remember the night like, it was like it was yesterday. It was August 24th, 2023. You did something for me that I will never forget. And that means so much to me. And I get a visual reminder of it every single day. And, it just it meant a lot. The first thing you did was you had our brothers in our Bible study group. You guys all laid hands on me, and just the love that I felt from you guys doing that, and the caring and the ministering, and it was just amazing. To know that I had all these brothers that cared for me that much to do that. Guys like you and Jerry and Byrne and all those guys from our group. That meant a lot. But one of the things that you did was, you gave me something that I know means a lot to you. And I'm wearing it right now, and it's this ring. And anyone who knows your story knows about the believe ring. And you found it when at the time of your brother's passing, and for you to give that to me and say, hey, you know what, this is for you. Whether it be a good luck charm or whatever some people might see it, I see it as, like I said, a visual reminder of my faith and something that tells me to believe. And that belief for me is believing in God, believing in the Lord. And that meant a lot to me. So that means a whole lot to me. So, and I see the visual reminder of it every single day. And it's helped me get through some tough times. I have a couple of tattoos. This is my brother's initials, G-O. And then this is my grandfather's brand. And every time I'm having a bad day, I just look down. I'm like, okay, go. And I see my grandfather. And then I look down and I see this. I can get through anything. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
Hey, man, for those out there that don't know, this ring, I wasn't a believer in Jesus Christ. I was quite far away from God. I lived in the secular world and found this ring. This was a message from God for me. And at the right point in time, he was going to drive that message home in my life. And it caused a complete transformation into coming to Jesus Christ, eventually being a pastor. And in the moment, your struggle, what you were going through, and what people need to know, what I wanted you to desperately know is that Satan attacks, and he attacks in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. And he's a liar, and he gets people to believe these lies. But here's the truth. Once you're a child of God's, Satan can't have you. He can't take you. You do not belong to him. You belong to the Lord. Mm-hmm. And that ring for me drove that home for me. And I wanted you to have that ring as a reminder that you belong to Jesus Christ and no one else, and that the words and the situations that Satan throws at you are empty. There's no weight to them. I mean, we all have to go through trials. We all have to go through these struggles. Mm-hmm. But you can do it with Jesus, or you can do it without Jesus. And I don't want you, my prayer for you is for you not to go through a single day without Jesus. For anyone to do that, it's tough, it's hard. Mm-hmm. When you live life without God, eventually you lose. The outcome for everyone who lives life without God is you lose. It's game over. Everything comes to an end here. Mm-hmm. And then you live an eternal life of suffering with Satan. Yeah. And I can't imagine anyone would want that. So I'm very happy, and it gives me peace and joy to know that that reminder helps you. But I want to make sure that anyone listening to us, watching us right now, understands that we do not idolize this ring, right? This is not something we are worshiping, mm-hmm. or something that we think it has power. Right. It's just a reminder, mm-hmm. that God is real, salvation is real, and believing and having faith in Jesus Christ is the only way to walk this walk in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, where do you feel God's? So at this point, you got the ring. You're feeling better now. You're getting sleep. Mm-hmm. What's God telling you?
At that point, God was telling me what he told me 8 months before. I got you. Let me carry you. And one of the things that I felt the Lord was telling me was like, you know what? Satan's a punk. You know, if he didn't think you were going to do something great, he wouldn't be messing with you. You know, so you're meant for great things. That's one of the great things about my wife is she's very, you know, she's always telling me, you know, hey, you're meant for great things. You know, you're meant for better. You should do better and this and that. So, you know, having that belief in someone who loves you like a wife loves you, but you imagine how much Jesus loves you, and he's telling you the same thing. You know, so you have to believe. So, yeah, that's what he was telling me at the time is you know, I still got you. So even now, you know, two years and a couple months later, I still feel the same way. He's got me. You know, so, and that's a good feeling to know that God is carrying you. You know, the Lord is carrying you, and it's just a great feeling knowing that you're His and you can be with Him for eternity.
Amen to that. So, you know, you and I were walking real life. You know, we deal with real struggles. We face these things, and we face them with God. Not only, and when you face them with God, then God brings all these things into your life and people into your life, brothers. So this group that Joey and I have referred to during this podcast, it's a Thursday night men's group of Christian brothers that are a fellowship of brotherhoods and friendship, and we love one another and we're there for one another, and it's an avenue to share. And these guys, even the new guys, when they come, they get to see, hey, there's someone else struggling just like me. Mm-hmm. There's someone else going through this, and I don't have to keep it bottled up inside. I don't have to put this tough front on. And by doing that, by letting go of the secular lies that we've been led to believe in how a man should be, we've created this environment now where the men can be how God intended us to be. And as we strengthen ourselves in that group, we go out into the world, right? And so tell me some of the experiences you've had now being in the hands and feet of Jesus since coming back into the fold, so to speak, getting your life back on track.
There's been a lot of great moments. Met a lot of great people. You know, I mentioned Jerry and Byrne, but also Mike Brooks, yourself. And I think that's been the biggest things for me is having guy friends that I can count on, and not just to like, hey, let's go grab a beer after work, or hey, let's go do this. It's more personal than that. You know, it's like, hey, let me walk with you so we can all get to heaven together. You know, those are some experiences that I've had with guys like that have just been amazing for me. That's one of the biggest takeaways that I've had during this thing is just to have male friends that I can count on, you know, that like I mentioned, Pastor David Swift, you know, he's in Oklahoma, so I talk to him every once in a while. My other friend, Pastor Scotty Hatlevig, you know, he's part of another church. I talk to him every once in a while. But to have access to people like yourself and Mike and be able to communicate with you guys and just talk about, you know, one of my favorite times is after Thursday night Bible study is when me, you, and Mike are there in the kitchen afterwards, or so we'll stay there for an extra, you know, 15, 20 minutes. We're like, all right, well, we'll see you later. And then you'll walk us out, and then we'll be outside for another 15, 20 minutes. Those are some of my favorite times because the conversations that we have are just, I mean, Price, I know you guys think I don't really talk all that much, but I'm kind of soaking it all in. I'm like, I'll be driving home and I'm like, man, that's crazy, you know? So I think some of those moments have been really cool for me.
So for those of you who don't know out there, I have a bit of a mini farm and a food forest there. I grow trees and vegetables and stuff. So inevitably I talk to people about the goat milk. We milk our goats, and now Joey's a big proponent of the goat milk. So yep. When he comes over on Thursday nights, he's over with his empty bottles. He's ready to fill her up. And so, you know, we're, like Joey says, we get to the end of our session with the guys, and then Joey, myself, and Mike are hanging out. We're talking about what's going on. We're talking about, what we're in at that moment. And we're laughing, having a good time. But here's where we're at. This is we're walking real life. And the truth for myself and the truth for Joey, and I'll let him speak on it in a moment, is that I'd love to tell you that everything's all good and perfect for Joey now. He's got God, and things are just glorious. It's sunshine and rainbows. But that's not the truth. The truth is we still have to live this life. We still have to go through these trials and tribulations. And for you, Joey, you're going through something I can't even imagine or would wish on anybody. So you're still every day dealing and struggling to some degree or another. And how has God helped you with that?
I think one of the ways that God has helped me is just being in his word, daily, starting my day out with him in, reading my Bible. Like I say, I don't know how people do it without him, because like you said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I've been through some stuff, especially the last, like through the holidays, a little bit before the holidays, it was between my wife and I, it was pretty, it was pretty bad. We were at a point where it was like, it was just a bad situation to be in. And, luckily through a lot of prayer and conversations with her, we've kind of moved past that point and working on marriage. Marriage is tough, especially given the situation that I'm in. We're raising two of our granddaughters. We have one granddaughter who's 10 years old, another one who's 9. And then their little sister just turned 2, and she's over with us 3 nights a week. So we're constantly around, having the grandkids with us. So I call it, parenting 2.0, because, we have 5 adult kids. I mentioned my son earlier. He's 31. I got his name is David, and then I got my daughter Krishna. She's 29, and then Angelica, which is the mom of the 3 girls. She's 28. And then Ilana, my daughter's 27. She has my other granddaughter, Ariani. And then we have our youngest, Claudia. She just turned 25. So, they're at an age where, we should be empty nesters right now, but we have our granddaughters. And to be honest, I mean, I don't know if I'd have it any other way right now, because they've helped me get through this more than probably anyone else. Because when I first re-met them, as I call it, they were just amazing. They thought I had gone away on a work trip, so they didn't know what would happen, and they knew that they thought that was different, but they didn't understand why. And about a year ago, I finally explained to them. I was like, "Hey, listen, remember the time when I went on that work trip?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then I came back, and I was kind of weird after that. They're like, "Yeah." And then I told them, I was like, "Well, I either had a bad reaction to a medicine," or I had a head injury, or both. And now I don't remember anything. So I don't remember when you guys were babies. I don't remember when, my kids were babies, or your uncle and your aunts. I don't remember them growing up and stuff. And at first they were like, whoa. And now they're like, "Hey, Tata, do you remember?" "Oh, wait, no, you don't." They're like joking around. "Well, you know them. They're messing with you all the time." They called you the weirdo with the beardo.
The weirdo with the beardo.
But yeah, I think, just it not all being sunshine and rainbows. Life is tough sometimes. And like I said, marriage can be tough. But I think if you work at it, one of the great things about having friends like yourself and Alan is that, you see what a godly marriage should be. I see my friend, Scotty and Denise Hatlovig, and I see their marriage, and I see the Bakers, and I see the Fords, and I see some other friends, the Medinas, and I see how their marriages are, and it gives you something to strive for, especially especially with you and Ellen. I see you guys as a godly couple who I could learn a lot from, or we could learn a lot from, my wife and I, and that's why I love spending time with you guys. You guys are just awesome. So
We love spending time with you, but if we peeled the curtain all the way back, you might take a step or two back. I joke around a lot with Ellen, but no. Part of having a good relationship is being equally yoked with the Lord. That the both of you believe in the Lord, and the both of you are committed to your personal relationships with the Lord, and that helps build a firm foundation. So when stuff gets thrown at you be able to weather that. And communicating, communicating is huge, and not only communicating, but when you're wrong or you're being a fool or you're acting like an ass, you recognize that, and you can go to your wife or your spouse, however it may be in that situation, and say, "Hey, look, I'm sorry. I wasn't acting in the best way, and I shouldn't have said those things to you or taken those things out on you." And we don't never keep things bottled up. We're not afraid to talk to one another. Sure, it may hurt the other person,
right? But
it's better to have these conversations. It's better to walk through this than to keep it all bottled up inside and essentially start to live separate lives in the same house.
Yeah.
Right. So for you, Joey, tell me how important it is for you about walking with Christ and the dynamics of church and small group and being a part of the things that the church offers, because there's a lot of people out there that think, well, I know of God. I know of Jesus. I know he's real. There's that. Then there's accepting and surrendering to him. But then there's also living this life. And how does that affect you? What are the things that you get out of going to church and all the things that I mentioned?
One of the things that I really love is I get up early in the morning. I mean, I'm talking 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And the first thing I do is I read my Bible. And right now I read 4 Bibles. I read the King James Version, and I'm on a reading Bible plan that David Iflander gave me. So you read different parts of the Bible on different days. So the first version of the Bible I read is the King James Version, and I'm reading it, and then so I get what it's saying, and then I read it in Spanish. I read the Spanish Bible, and it's the same thing, but just in Spanish. So I'm like, okay, I got to work on my Spanish. So in case I ever, preach in Spanish or whatever, teach in Spanish, I can do that. Then I read it in modern language. So, I'm kind of like, okay, so what did I just read? Okay, I get the third time. And the fourth time, I read the study Bible, the one that you recommended. So, and that one has the study notes on it and stuff. So by the time I finish reading that, it takes me about an hour. And I'm just like ready to go. I'm like, okay. So what that does, that prepares me to face my day. So I feel like I already feel like I'm winning because I started the day out with the Lord. So then what I do is, depending on what day of the week it is, Wednesday nights we go to service. I see you there. My wife, she works with the middle school students with Pastor Delinda there at OVCN. So she works with the 7th grade students there. And she loves it, and they love her. She does an amazing job with those girls. So we do that. We take our granddaughters to church with us. And then Thursday night, I have the Thursday night study group with you guys. And then Sunday we go to church again. But the thing with that is that it's not compartmentalized. It's like, okay, Wednesday I have this, Thursday I have this, Sunday I have this. It's like I live my life like that every single day with the Lord in my life. So he's always a part of my life. He's always with me. Also being part of the men's leadership, ministry has helped me a whole lot because I have more brothers that I can get help from and share with and share my life with. But I think living my life every day with Christ is so important, and that's why I get up every morning and that's the first thing I do. So, but yeah, just living your life with Christ daily and picking up your cross daily and having him in your life, I think that's so important, and again, I just keep coming back to this, but I don't know how people do it without God. I just don't understand it, And yeah, I've had two plus years to kind of make these memories and have these foundations and have this routine that I have now. And I don't know what the other 47 years of my life were. According to some people, it's pretty, interesting guy to say the least. But the way I see it is this is a new beginning, and I'm going to start from 2 years ago and start making positive memories. So
that's wonderful. So Joey and I, we are kind of arch rivals when it comes to football. So, we're keeping it real here. So we have to talk about some other things as well.
All right.
So he's can you believe this or not, a Dallas Cowboy fan. But I can't talk too much because I'm a New York Giants fan. So we have a lot of fun going back and forth between the Giants and the Cowboys. Oh, by the way, our head pastor, Pastor Craig, he's a huge Cowboys fan. So it's always, empowers our Cowboy fans that go to the church. But we have a lot of fun with that. And we're both Yankee fans. Mm-hmm. I come to find out about that just recently. And my point to all this is that, Joey and I are brothers in Christ. I love Joey. I believe God intentionally brought him into my life, and we do life together. And life is, hey, we love sports. We go hang out. We love sports. We talk about sports. We God is very important in both of our lives, so it's a staple in a lot of the things we do. But we still go out and do other things that are fun and that we enjoy, but we have a different perspective, say, from someone else that doesn't have Christ. So if we want to go watch a football game or go watch a baseball game, it's not about loading up with a bunch of booze and using a bunch of profanity or maybe even being around a bunch of people that we shouldn't. The point of all of it is that we do life like everyone else. You still enjoy the things that you had pleasure in before coming to Christ, but now there's a different context in them. There's a different approach to them. You're a different person, so you're not going to be who you once were.
Right.
So, and one of the things that I most recently was talking to Joey about, it would be great if a good team comes to Arizona on a Thursday night, and then instead of Thursday night men's group, we'll just all go out to watch an NFL game and be on the Thursday night game. That'd be, these are the type of things we do. We had a dinner night. I think bowling is supposed to be next.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. And the reason why we're excited about bowling is because we have a gentleman in our group who's legally blind. And he's just the greatest guy. His name is Tim. He's got an amazing story. Eventually, we'll get him on one of the shows, and he wants to go bowling. So we're like, okay, let's go bowling with Tim. Let's see how this is going to turn out.
Yeah.
So everyone out there, that has these misnomers of what it's like to walk with God, and that there's supposedly all these different rules and you can't, you're restricted. The truth is you're more free accepting Jesus Christ than at any other point in your life. If you don't have Jesus in your life, what you don't realize is that you've been entrapped and you've been imprisoned in a house of lies that eventually just bring you down. Mm-hmm. And when you accept Jesus Christ, you are free. You live in his light, you live in his love, and eventually spend time with him in eternity in heaven. Eventually, that is the ultimate outcome for everyone who believes and accepts in Jesus Christ. And Joey here is a testament of this journey that we all have to go through. It's something that we want everyone to know about. We want everyone to know about Jesus. Right. We hope everyone chooses to accept Jesus Christ. But Joey, like myself, hey, we'll go meet you where you're at. Mm-hmm. We'll get in the middle of the mud if we have to.
Right.
We'll see you where you're at your lowest or where you're struggling, and we'll walk with you, mm-hmm. and we'll be real with you. We're not going to try and fluff you and tell you something just to try to make you feel better. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that I read in my journal was from my old pastor, David Swift, who, by the way, is a Cowboys fan too. That was one of the prerequisites to joining OBCN, was the pastor Craig had to be a Cowboys fan, which turned out great for us. But one of the things he always said was, you're not perfect, but you're willing to be perfected. And I think that goes well with, saying how we meet people where they're at. They may not be perfect, but they're willing to be perfected in Christ and in God, and we can walk through that. And I think that's fantastic.
So what I was sharing with you and the guys, I think it was 2 weeks ago when we all got together, was the parable of the sower of the seeds.
Oh yeah,
right.
That was
good. The parable of the sower of the seeds is where the story's in all four Gospels, and essentially Jesus is talking about the four different types of ground. There's the hard road, there's the rocky road, there's the road with the thistle, and then there's the ideal soil. And, most people focus on the soil because people are the soil, and we're in these different stages of our life. And when we hear the word of God, that it takes differently, so sometimes on the hard road, it doesn't take at all. On the rocky road, it takes very little, and then withers where the weeds are, the weeds choke out the seed, the word of God. And then where the soil is good, the seed grows and the word takes, and you've got 100 times your return. But what people have missed about the parable of the sower of seeds is that the important thing here is the seed. The seed is God's word. And back in those days, seed was a precious commodity. So they wouldn't just throw the seed on the road or where the rock were or where the thistle were, right? The farmer, who's you and I, we're the hands and feet of Jesus Christ, we throw that seed out everywhere because we know how valuable it is. We know how important it is. And we know that one good rainstorm can make that hard ground soft. We know one good rainstorm can bring that mud and fill in the good soil between the rocks, right? We know that one good rainstorm can wash out the weeds and allow the seeds to grow. So it's important to throw the seeds everywhere. So we're going to meet you on that rocky road. We're going to meet you on that hard ground. We're going to meet you where you're in with thistle, right?
Right.
And that's what this walk really is all about.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I love about the guys that we hang out with, what I love about you. There's nothing that, we don't shy away from. If I say, hey, let's go do something where we're going to help these people out, or you've taken up a large role in men's leadership, taken on huge responsibility there, and you step up and you do these things, and you, by the way, you do it voluntarily, right? This is how the Lord has compelled you to help.
Yeah.
And this is the ministry that Keeping It Real with Reverend Sal G is all about. It's about going out there in these conditions where you guys are at, where you ladies are at, and trying to spread this word and trying to get you to take the one step, because Jesus Christ has taken 99 steps. He's been there. He's been watching you. He's been hoping you would just turn around and take that one step towards him.
Right.
So, Joey, as we're wrapping things up here, are there some things, some parting wisdom or stuff you'd like to share to people that might be hearing this show?
I think some parting words that I'd like to say is just give God a chance. Give Jesus a chance to get into your heart, and let him transform you. It's like you were saying earlier, people think that being a Christian is you got all these rules, but it's one of the most freeing decisions you'll ever make, because you'll be able to live your life the way it was supposed to be, So I think that's all I'd have to say.
Yeah, I like to tell people that God is counterintuitive with his instruction for what you should do. And what that means essentially is that we grow up and we live life and we know 1 and 1 is 2, but then God comes along and says, hey, 1 and 1 is 3. And you're like, there's no way. It can't be. You want me to go do what? And what I think is going to make things worse is going to actually make things better. We have to live by faith and trust in him, because he does work in counterintuitive ways. The other thing is this. Satan loves to fill our eyes. You know, the secular world fills our eyes. And what I mean by that is, you know, when a kid sees a plate of food and he takes a huge chunk of it because he thinks he's going to eat all that food, and you and I know that there's no way that food's going to be consumed. It's going to get wasted. Their eyes are bigger than their appetite. Satan loves to work in that way. You know, Satan will fill your eyes with all these desires that you think you need, and God wants to fill your soul. He wants to fill your heart, and he wants to fill your mind. Well, Joey, thank you so much for coming on and being a guest and sharing your story. We're gonna have to have you come back on at another time and have part 2 where you're at in your walk.
Absolutely.
And any last words?
God bless you.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in and checking out and listening to Keeping It Real with Reverend Sal G. Me and Joey Bag of Donuts. We're going to call it a day, and we're going to go get some donuts. How about that?
Sounds good.
Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for checking out Keeping It Real with Reverend Sal G. Make sure to follow us on all the different platforms for more great content.